and we're making letters to the Tooth Fairy. Yes, that's me, because I've actually gone back to the Sparkle a Day Academy. I've been there for a year now, learning how to be a Tooth Fairy, which is rather fairy tricksy. Do you know that we get 5 wands given to us that we need to carry with a pouch, and we have to fly with all that as well? It gets very, very heavy. Oh my goodness. And also, luckily in one of those wands, it's a navigating fairy wand, which is kind of very awesome. So basically today we are going to be making our own letters to the Tooth Fairy. And you know what? You can actually use these letters as well, and you can post a letter to your friend. I would love to post a letter out to you guys, so maybe we should do a fairy competition. I know, I've got a great idea. I'll have a magical fairy template set up on my website under the Imagination Cloud, and it will be design your own toothbrush. So there'll be different models for you to cut out and play around with, and then you can basically make your own toothbrush, take a photo of it, send it to me in messages at Insta, or you can take a photo of it and send it to the comments in Facebook, which is even very easier. And then we will announce a winner, because we've got prizes to give away. So we haven't had anybody enter for our prize on Tuesday yet. So if you haven't done that one, get onto it, because you get to win a book and swings, which are very awesome. And our prize for today for our best designed toothbrush is a little fairy Tooth Fairy house. I used to live in one of these, which is really cute. And you could actually leave your little tooth in there, which would be awesome. Easy for the Tooth Fairies to get to, because they can just open the door, grab the tooth, leave your magic coin in there, and then get out of there. And also, what's this? A magic fairy wand to do spells. You could turn your dad into an upside down chicken with knickers on his head. So these are the prizes that you get to win today, which are really very exciting, and they come from Schism, and they are absolutely awesome. They're a little shop in Ormond, but the felt people that make them, I'll get back to you about who makes them. So anyway, I was looking at the Tooth Fairy book for ideas, and it's all about Holly, who likes to send letters to her Tooth Fairy friend. So that's one of the little letters, and she says, "Dear Tooth Fairy, thank you for coming last night. I've never had a visit from the Tooth Fairy before. Could you answer some questions, please? What do you want my tooth for? Do you know what fairies use teeth for?" Yep, I've heard that one a lot, that they actually use them for fences. Well, sometimes they do, but you know what? That's a little bit very old school. Do you know what they do with the most sparkliest teeth? They actually crush them down, and they use them as flight dust to sprinkle on the fairies' wings so they can fly really high up to the sky. So the most sparkliest teeth that are super sparkly, that we need to put sunglasses on when we come collect them, they actually, a little sparkle dust of your teeth will actually last enough flight power on a fairy for a whole year. So just 2 little sprinkles. How awesome is that? So that's why it's really important to brush your fairy teeth. So are there lots of tooth fairies? Well, there are lots of tooth fairies. There's like past my hands and toes of tooth fairies. You know, every year it is very hard to get into Tooth Fairy School, the Sparkle Day Academy. As you know, you have to do your triple toe, snipple, snot, somersault flight. And if you get 10, 10, 10, you get into the magical Sparkle Day Academy. So very hard to, but when they do have a special intake at the end of the year, it's generally about up to 25 fairies. So it's not a lot of fairies, but it's still a lot in fairyland. So, and where do you live? Oh, there's another question that you can ask the fairies. Well, I used to live in a magic mushroom, but now I live in a tree with a big rainbow slide down the bottom. So they're the kind of things that you need to ask the Tooth Fairy. So let's get to it. So there's lots of ways that the fairies love letters. You can use the letters, you can go to the $2 shop and you can get an envelope, and you can get a little card to decorate your letter with. So we can do that one. But today I thought we'd do something really fancy, and I thought we'd do a little bit of inking. So if you've got inks at home, or if you've got vegetable inks, colour food dyes, which are even easier, what we're going to do is this little pipette here, we'll suck it up, and then I'm just going to let it drop onto my piece of paper like this, and the most magical thing happens. Now this special paper makes it diffuse into different places, so you can use tissue paper, or you can use watercolor paper will do the same thing. But with the watercolor paper, what you want to do is just get your brush like this and just brush my paintbrush is a bit stiff, so make sure you wet your paintbrush a little bit so it can get wet. You can just put some water over your paper, and that'll help with the ink going over. I've got some pink, so we can do some pink on our paper, and this looks really, really, really pretty. So the more colourful your art piece is, the fairies are gonna love it, love it, love it, love it. Got yellow, I'm running out of yellow. You can also use watercolor paints as well, which is lots of fun. And what other colour have I got here? Oh, I've got this other pink. This is really pretty. So make sure you shake it. So what you're wanting to do is give it a good, this is like a neon colour. So you can get it in there and pop it all on. See what's happening? It's sort of bleeding all over the place. It's so awesome. And even if you hold it up like that, you can give it a bit of a let down there, and then we might use this gorgeous blue. So I'll put some of that blue on too. So that's what you can do to decorate up your pieces of paper. This is a bit thick, this one. And that'll definitely attract the tooth fairies. I know I like that. And also glitter. Magic glitter is fabulous. So if you've got some fairy glitter, you can sprinkle some of that over the page when it's wet, and the glitter will stick to it. So you'll let that dry. Look at that. And you can get even more fancier. I'm just letting it drip everywhere. And even if you want to just press it together like this, and I'll get another piece of paper so I don't get ink all over my hands. You can go and press it down and even smudge more of that ink in and make it look all magical. So let's have a look at that. Wow. So you hang that up and let that dry before you write on it for the tooth fairy. And you might want to just use like a special marker like that. Now with our magical cards, you could use sequins, you could use paint again. I love using my fairy Poscas because they're awesome. So you could do a picture of yourself with a dress on and legs, and you might want to have your fairy crown on, and I'm going to give myself some arms as well before I do that. And I know you guys are much very better drawers than me, so I am doing this really quick. I'm going to give myself a stripy dress, some pink hair, some lips. You might even want to make this look like the Tooth Fairy if you want to. Or Tooth Fairies love flowers too. I'm going to put some wings on there, some bows on my shoes, and I'm going to give myself an orange nose and some eyes. I love doing eyes. So that's your little magical letter card to the Tooth Fairy. And then what you'll need to do is write in it. Dear Tooth Fairy, I was wondering, what is your favourite, I just going to put fave, but you can put favourite colour. And then on the other side, I'm going to put love, Fairy M. Oh, that's me writing to myself. Alright, so you can write in your magic card like that. And then you can decorate your envelope too. And put to the Tooth Fairy. Special address to them. The other thing you can do also is fairies love flowers and leaves and things. So you could leave some little flowers or petals or leaves. You could even actually stick your little petals and leaves on your page too. So you could actually find a nice piece of paper, and if you wanted to be really fancy, you could stick this onto your, once it's dried, onto your piece of paper, and then you could fold it like a card, or you could write around it what you'd like to ask the Tooth Fairy. There's so many different ideas, but my favourite one of all is going out into nature and finding yourself a special leaf, letting it dry. So you've got to let it dry a little bit. And this is how we get our mail into Fairyland. So what happens is, or should I say Fairyland instead of Zumberland, the leaves fall from the sky and blow into our magic tree houses, and on there is a letter from, maybe from your favourite fairy friend, maybe it might be from Queen Titania, the magic queen fairy. So you can grab a Posca pen, which is one of these. These are fantastic. They are the best since sliced fairy bread. And then you can put your stamp on there. So it's very important to put your little fairy stamp. So the owl post, know that it needs to be posted. And to post on your magic leaves, it will cost you 20 cents. So make sure you write 20 cents on your leaf. And it's a star. So you need to, let me find. I'm going to put an orange star on the picture. And that's the official one for the Tooth Fairy. Or you can put a tooth if you want to. A star or a tooth, whatever you like. And then you can write your letter to the Tooth Fairy on your leaf. So you can put to the Tooth Fairy or dear. We can do it either way. And if you know your Tooth Fairy's name, so it could be Hazel, it could be Blossom, it could be Fairy Emma, but I'm not ready to pick up your Toothy Pegs yet because I've still got another 2 years of Tooth Fairy school. Or it could be, she's very popular, Fairy Crystal. You could be who could be collecting your teeth. So to the Tooth Fairy, I would love to meet you. Maybe you could meet each other in a fairy dream date. So that's what you'd write. So you got your fairy stamp, you got your writing on there, and then you can decorate it a little bit too. So you could put some spots on it. You could do whatever you like to it. I like putting fairy spots and some flowers, because your Tooth Fairy might like flowers, or they might like stars, or they might like moons, or they might like polka dots or triangles or sparkles. And then what you need to do is just grab some sparkles, because it's very important, and sprinkle it over your magic leaf so the fairies can see it in the dark. Because what happens is the glitter lights up like